why is NLP interpreted differently by different coaches, practitioners, authors, researchers, and then there's ...
Because. Well, okay, all right, again. Well, what is NLP? NLP isn't a thing. NLP is it's just curiosity.
Subjective experience.
Yeah, it's a study of human behavior, and where do you end with that? Where do you start? Where do you go with that? It's beliefs, it's values, it's identities, and there's so many different ways to look at it.
There's all those deletions, distortions, and generalizations. And somebody was on social media saying NLP means, and then said so the reason NLP is called NLP is because, and they did this whole posting on why NLP was called NLP. And their answers were quite good. They were eloquent. It made sense. He was talking about what the neuro means, what the programming means, what the linguistic bit means. And all I could hear in my head was Richard Bandler saying why he called it NLP, which of course wasn't what he posted on social media. And I just think that different people, they have their own interpretation. I mean, the way that I interpret the way things work will be different to the way Steve interprets the way they work, because we have different filters and we put things together differently. I mean, over the 20 years or whatever that we've known each other, we can read each other quite well.
We haven't once agreed, have we?
No, we haven't. No, we disagree quite a lot, actually. But that's healthy. We have very healthy discussions where
we've got very different maps, haven't we? And sometimes one person's map is more efficient and more effective than the other person's, or more fun. I think we come. That question is. NLP is it's not a thing. It's just curiosity. So we're all going to have to see things in completely different ways. And that's the thing I love about it, that you never stop learning. You never stop discovering. You never stop finding things, and finding things you can then apply to yourself and then share with other people. And that's why, there are so many books. I think it would be a little bit more interesting if many of the books out there weren't just a rehash of the practitioner manual.
No, I agree. We need something new and innovative to come out of this. Yeah, because they're all the same.
I have a thought.
They're all the same. Yeah, because they are. If you look at them, they're all the same, and we do need something new. So here we have the penultimate question. What is the difference between NLP practitioner and NLP coach?
Well, I think we kind of started to answer that, didn't we, a moment ago, when we were talking about, for me, the distinction is the practitioner is someone who's learned the fundamentals of NLP and is putting the fundamentals together, primarily working on themselves or working with a willing partner, but not necessarily working on people, just really starting to discover and move things from conscious competence to a degree of unconscious competence. That tends to happen more when someone's done 2, 3, maybe 4 practitioners. I see that. And then when they start to move to the master practitioner, then they become even more creative with it. The NLP coach, well, my approach to that is that's when you've done enough of your practitioner, you then get a chance to work on other people. Or work with other people rather than on other people.
And of course, there are different certifications that are offered out there in the marketplace, and some people are offering an NLP practitioner and some people are offering an NLP coach. Now, Steve and I are both with Richard Bandler's society, so we're with the Society of NLP, and within the Society of NLP there's a licensed practitioner of NLP where you get that initial toolbox of magical things that enable you to create infinite changes. You can use it for business, you can use it anywhere. just so flexible. And there will be many people that will attend the practitioner who know nothing, and at the end of it, they get their practitioner toolbox. I've got my practitioner toolbox. I can pull the rabbit out and do magic. And then from there, there will be people that want to use NLP within a coaching context. And then they will go and they will do the NLP Coach certification, which will teach them how to apply their NLP toolbox within a coaching environment. Just like you can come and do a practitioner of NLP, and then from there, you can go and learn how to apply that in a business context. That was how I read the question. Very boring, sorry.
Yeah, we both agree.
Yes, we both agree.
That's our distinctions. Yeah, so our maps are very similar in that respect. Yeah.
So, the last question. And again, this question has me going, well, what do you mean? So this question says, where did the NLP presuppositions come from? Now, when I read that bit, I'm thinking, well, what do you mean? Do you mean the linguistic presuppositions within the meta model, or do you mean the basic presuppositions? And then it goes on to say, why are they not adjusted or changed? It seems to me they are never challenged, though they're generalizations and incoherences. So I said, I don't know what presuppositions you mean specifically. Now, if you mean the basic presuppositions, I mean, they come from different fields. They come from semantics, which is Alfred
Korzybski.
Korzybski, thank you. I can never, ever pronounce his name. I'm very sorry. They're from transformational grammar, which is Noam Chomsky. They're from systems theory, which is Gregory Bateson. From cybernetics, which is Ross Ashby. Pragmatism, what a lovely word, which is William James. Phenomenology, I love that word too, which is Edmund Husserl, I think.
Herschel, yeah.
Yeah, and logical positivism.
T.
No, it's positive. Yeah, that'll do.
Positivism.
Yeah, positivism. That's it. Yes.
Bertrand
Russell and Alfred North Whitehead. So the basic presuppositions come from these guys. Or do you mean the other presuppositions? Because there are many of them as well. And generally speaking, we do challenge them. We use the meta model challenge to get more information because we get the surface structure and we want to go down to what they actually mean. So I don't really know what presuppositions you're talking about. Now I know he has something to say about this too.
I got a story.
There's always a story.
Yeah. Moses meets God, and God goes, right, I've got my 15 guidelines. No, actually, people won't follow guidelines. 15 rules. No, they're not going to follow 15 commandments. Okay, let me tell you my 15 commandments for the people. So he explained the 15 commandments to Moses. He said to Moses, go back and tell the people about my 15 commandments. Are you sure you're going to remember all those? Now, this was in the time before Miller, Galan, and Prime had done the work on magic number 7 plus or minus 2. So they didn't exist at that point. So Moses goes off. A couple of days later, he comes back and goes, really sorry, but I couldn't remember them. That's too many. God goes, okay, I'll tell you what. I'll cut the number down to 12 and I'll write them on stone for you. Okay. Make it easy for you to remember. I'm going to carve them on stone. Okay. Now let me help you. There you go. Have you got all those? Yeah, I've got all my 12 commandments. Yeah. Okay. Now, are you sure you can carry all of them in one go? And Moses trots off, and that's how we end up with the 10 commandments. Okay. Now, the basic presuppositions are kind of like the 10 commandments or the 12 commandments or the 15 commandments. Depends where you look. The numbers vary because they're not real. They're not written in stone. they are presuppositions. There's something that is before that supports something after. You know, it's pre-support positioning. And the basic presuppositions support us in being able to do NLP, to work with people, to find out and be creative. Are they fixed? I don't think so.
No,
because there's 12, there's 10. I'm not even sure what's in the manual. I can't remember. I think we should be able to add our own presuppositions, just like we add our own rules. If they're really useful, you know, I think one would be to make sure that everything we do is fun and engaging. That's a basic presupposition, possibly. Yeah, something like that. So I don't think they're fixed. I'm not sure about the incongruency of them. Is that the phrase, was that the word that was used at the end?
He said they're never challenged, though they're generalizations and incoherences.
Incoherences. I'm not sure about that.
I'm not quite sure, because I don't know whether this is actually from a native English speaker.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm not sure,
but I would say they can be challenged because they're not written in stone. Yeah. Seems to me they're just useful. And that's what I've always looked at them and go, these are useful things for us to, assumptions for us to make to enable us to navigate through the world.
Yeah.
And I haven't found any cases, and I've looked a little bit, I must admit, I've given it some thought, but I've not spent hours on it, where they don't seem to have some relevance and be coherent.
I think there is relevance. I mean, when you look at them, the one that most people talk about is the map is not the territory. I think that's incredibly relevant.
Yeah, so I say it'd be interesting just to go through, just do an exercise.
Things are how we think, not how they are. Yeah, I mean, there's so many elements of those basic presuppositions that are relevant in what people do and how they perceive their world. And I think they're really useful. And
I also, it seems to me that it's a very useful thing to really sit and reflect and find uses for them, and consider how you would use them, because they are the foundations for all the work that I do with people, for sure. Yeah, I recognize the value of the basic presuppositions early on. So I'm aware of time.
Yes, me too. I'm aware of time because we're out of time now. Yeah, so think about those basic presuppositions, if that's what the question was about, and how are they relevant in the things that you do, and begin to explore their relevance.
And be creative. See if you can come up with something else which is even more useful.